Wondering how you can become better at running your business? Entrepreneurship can be stressful. There's too much to do and not enough time. If you're isolated in your daily decisions, have no fear. Success and balance are possible. Welcome to the Small Business Answer Man podcast, where you master the art of running a successful business using practical advice from experts who want to help you succeed. Now, here's your host, Gary Wilbers.
Welcome. We're glad to have you back this week for another great podcast. Really, in this podcast, what we do is we help entrepreneurs and business owners find solutions so they don't become overwhelmed and stressed. Are you ready to hear about one of the areas maybe of the 6P business owner formula? Those are people, productivity, pricing, promotion, process, and of course, let's not forget that one of profits. Today, our guest is Heidi, and she's going to share what problems she will help solve for our listeners today.
Thank you, Gary, for having me. I'm so excited to be here. The problem I'm going to help you solve is getting clients consistently with ease.
Oh, wow. We all need clients because that's what brings in those profits that we're going to talk about. So as we get in the conversation, Heidi Schlack is a business strategy and leadership coach. She's an author, she's a speaker, and she's the host of the Be She podcast. Be seen, be heard, and be empowered. She has been featured on Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, and the Daily Herald. Heidi spent the past 5 years helping entrepreneurs achieve their goals and build six-figure businesses they love through Money Mastery System. Heidi, it is great to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Gary. I'm so excited to have a conversation with you and dive in.
Well, I love talking to other business coaches and entrepreneurs too, because we're business owners and entrepreneurs ourselves to really find out what really allows us to strive for our success to help others achieve their significance in life. So I'm kind of curious, if you don't mind, if you would share with us how you got started in your business and why did you decide to become an entrepreneur?
Oh, this is a journey. So I love sharing this to hopefully inspire other people that have similar, roads that they're navigating. So I started my business 6 years ago. It's actually almost 6 years to the day, where I was navigating through a divorce. So I had been a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. And now I found myself needing to find a way to create an income and security for myself and my children to keep my home and also, support us and the animals that I had, because I had a lot of animals. But I also, the one thing I learned really quickly is I really got in touch with my why. I really wanted to be home with my kids. So no matter what I did, I wanted to be able to still keep their life as similar as possible with me that they had been used to, which I had been highly involved in their schooling. I had been highly involved in the activities of their school. I was a room mom. I was part of the auction committee. I did all the things, and I was able to pick them up and take them to school every day, as well as take them to their activities. So I didn't want that to change because they were really young. So I did work 2 jobs. I worked a job in the morning that would give me the flexibility to still be with them. And then when they would go to bed, I worked at night while I was building my business. So that's how I got started. And I didn't start off as a business strategy coach because, Gary, I knew zero about business. This was a learn it as you go type of thing. So I started with what I knew, which was health and wellness. But I quickly found out that I didn't know as much as what I thought I knew because I'd been out of the industry for so long. So I realized that I wasn't passionate about it anymore. And it had changed so much. Now people were moving online in a big way. It was niched down to gut health, keto, vegan. There was all different kinds of aspects of that industry. And I just didn't want to learn it. So I was moving through transformation. I was learning how to be a leader in my own life and setting goals that I wanted to accomplish for me and my kids to actually stay home with them. So I started working with women in that regards. And as they evolved and grew and got success, they started wanting to build businesses online. So that's how my business evolved and grew. And that's what I'd love to share with entrepreneurs. Like, where you start is not where you're going to be finished. So just be open to the journey, enjoy the journey as much as we can kind of get stuck on, we're not as far as we want to be. This is your path and your journey. Enjoy the road because it's leading you to such amazingness that you have no ideas in store for you.
Well, I love what you say there. Several things is really about the journey that you were on, but also realizing, okay, where I start from doesn't mean where I end. And I think for a lot of business owners, sometimes we've got experienced business owners I know that's listening to it. They may be a little bit frustrated right where now where they're at. So I always think they have to really set that vision and that why, like you said, really that sets them up for that success there. And then I loved what you talked about because I think this is one for business owners to really think about. What are you doing in your own for your own self to really find that leadership within you? You know, you may have been a leader for a long time, but is it with your family right now you need that? Or is it in your business? Because as they grow, we have to become different leaders. You know, I started out with two in my business and grew a business to 150 employees. It's totally different managing 150 than it is two. Number one, you can't manage 150. You got to have others that do it, but you got to do it through those others. So that leadership journey and stuff. So I congratulate you on that, you know, realizing and letting other entrepreneurs and business owners know that it's a process that we've got to go through. Let's talk a little bit about what you kind of discovered in that with the leadership side, and you dialed in and knew what was most important. It was those kids and you wanted to be there, but of course you still had to have dollars come in from that side of it. So what was some of those things that you would share with us, you know, as far as that leadership that people should consider?
The first thing was going back to the why, Gary. It was like really touching, getting to, because we all want to, for me, I'll speak for me, but I know for many entrepreneurs, we get into business because we want to have that time freedom and we want to make a lot of money. Like we want to create our own economy. And that's great. But if we just we're doing this to make money, that's not going to be enough when the days, and I joke with my clients because I have kids, so I use that terminology. I'm like, when it's not all unicorns, cupcakes, and roses and balloons, like when the days aren't, you know, gushing us with glitter, we need to really know what's driving us, what's keeping us going forward. And that's not the money, because what's deeper than the money? Why do we want to make that money? Is it insurance for our family? Is insurance for our kids? Or what's the why that makes us cry? And what's going to pull out on our heartstrings? And when we get in tune with that, that's going to get us one step closer to being successful. Because when we have those hard days as entrepreneurs, it's a kind of a lonely journey in times, especially if you work from home, like many of us do now. It could be a lonely journey, and we need to call ourselves forward. We need to learn how to step into that leadership role and call upon ourselves and dig deeper and tap into that why that makes us cry. That's going to keep us moving forward. And I learned in leadership that I'm responsible. I create everything in my life. Like and I've realized, like, it's funny because even with my clients, when something shows up for them, I'll realize, wow, I'm creating that because that's showing up for me. That's a mirror of what's happening for me. So I get to shift and take responsibility for that and help. And by me doing that, that's helping them navigate it too. But at the end of the day, where I'm at in my business, whether it's working in the moment or not working in the moment, I step into, if I want to change it, it's up to me. If it's meant to be, it's up to me, and everything is possible. I just get to step into what's my next cut and how bad do I want it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that because I think it's so important for us to hear that we have to decide the road that we want to take. And we've got to decide, you know, I always talk about my company name is Ascend Business Strategies for a reason. Ascend to the mountain, but it's not to get to the mountaintop by yourself. It's
Right.
about who can you bring along that why and why is it so important to you. So I think that's really, really important. So let's talk a little bit about money. And you kind of have a philosophy of this money mastery system. And I'm curious to know more about that if you don't mind sharing, Heidi.
Absolutely. And I love what you said about we don't like your business name and ascending, and that we don't do that alone. And that's so true. And then when I started my business, I was a lone wolfer. I'm a recovering lone wolfer, a recovering perfectionist. And I learned as an introvert that I don't get to sit in this alone. We get to create a network, right? Our network is our net worth. It's so true. I used to think that was so cliche, but it's so true. So yes, we get to help ask for support when we need it, and work with others in order to help them get to where they goals. Because if we're helping them, we're helping ourselves. So my money mastery system, it came from the word money, because that's that's what I find most entrepreneurs want. They want money. That's why they're moving into creating their own economy and becoming the CEO of their life and of their business. So with helping my clients build online businesses, I created this acronym called MONEY, which stands for marketing, because most entrepreneurs, when they're building a business or scaling, if we're feeling stuck or we're not where we want to be, most of the time doesn't have anything to do with our gifts and or what we have to offer, or how we help people. It has to do with our marketing. That's where many people are struggling with their marketing, and many people I find are looking at what others are doing and comparing themselves. And what's working for someone else may not necessarily work for you, because that's not your message. That's not your authenticity showing through. So I work with my clients on the marketing aspect and really getting clear on what their message is. And then we talk about in their ideal client. And then the O stands for their offer. What is that irresistible offer that sets you apart and put your stake in the ground, that sets you apart from every other person that does what you do? Because if you're in business, you should have other people doing what you do. I don't like the word competition. I like collaboration. I think there's plenty of people in the world that we can all help. So, but there should be other people doing what you're doing. So in that aspect, what sets you apart? How are you filling the gap for your audience that they're not getting from someone else with another method or process? The N stands for network. We're going to go back to network, because your network is your net worth. And as an introvert, it was a part of my world that I struggled with and held me back for years. And I don't want that holding anyone else back. So I support my clients in building their network, meaning that you get to leverage other people's stages and vice versa. They get to leverage your stage. Let's build a community of like-minded individuals and entrepreneurs that are supporting each other in each other's growth. And then the E is for enrollment, because I work with a lot of women, and as women, we're nurturers. We love to support, and it's scary for many of us to ask for money, right? To ask them to move to cross that line and take the next step on their adventure in order to pay us to make that happen. So I support them in enrollment, making this enrollment easy, showing that selling is serving. And if you're not making your offer, somebody's not being helped and staying stuck. And the Y is for the you, showing up authentically as you, because at the end of the day, people want to work with you because of who you are and how you're showing up. So I know AI is a big piece in the industry right now, and it's a really important piece in supporting us in our business, but it doesn't replace who you are in showing up and connecting with people with that human connection. So I always say, like, AI is great, but we still need the AU, which is the first two letters of authenticity. So I kind of love to joke about that.
I love it. You're listening to the Small Business Answer Man podcast. We'll be right back. And now back to the show. Well, Heidi, I love that concept of money, and let me give it to everyone again, because I know they're busy people. We know our entrepreneurs are not just sitting listening to us. We would love if you would do that, but we know you're exercising, or you may be at your desk, or you're trying to get something else done. So let me cover them again with you. She talked about marketing. The marketing is what drives our business. That's there all the time. What's the offer? What are you selling? But what's the offer that you're making to the people? The gap that you're sharing with that individual. She talked about your network. Think about your network. What could you do now? Who could you connect with to make a difference there? And then I love the enrollment. We always have to ask for sales. And let's be honest, a lot of entrepreneurs were not born salespeople. But the thing is, we may have created a widget or decided to have this ideal, but we've got to be able to enroll people to get our services. And then I love that you end up with of how important the person that is running the business. If you've got employees, it's still about you, because it's the culture that you're creating with the others, or it's the culture that you're creating for yourself to make that so beneficial. So I just love the concept, because it's really getting people to think differently about their business. And that's what it really does. Can you share with me, Heidi, if you would, maybe a success story? You don't have to give full names, those type of things, but kind of a success story of a client that you work with and how it's helped them through this money mastery concept?
Absolutely. So one of my clients came to me during the pandemic, and unfortunately she had been with this company for a long time and she thought her job was secure. And she was a supporter in the business. It was not her business. And unfortunately, she was the highest earner and she was also friends with the owner. So it cut in two different ways. It cut her financially and it also cut her in that friendship because she was hurt that she was the one to let go. But unfortunately, that person had to make that decision. So she came online looking to figure out what she was going to do. And luckily for me and for her, we found each other. And I had the honor of working with her. And by showing her, I work a lot with accountability. I have a group program where I believe in a group program because I love one-on-one coaching to a certain degree because I don't know, and I'm honest, I don't know everything about everything. However, as a community, these women can support each other. They can be inspired by the ones who are ahead of them, and they can inspire those who are learning to catch up to where they are. So I think it's a great collaboration. That being said, I also have a one-on-one piece in where I do one-on-one accountability calls with my people to make sure every month they are on track with the goals that we set the month before. And with her, that kept a fire under her butt to make sure she didn't get on that call until she got everything done. She knew that the call was coming and she made sure she got stuff done. And I want to say 3, but I know definitely by 4 months, she was already on track for a 6-figure business because she did everything, single thing that she needed to do. And she would also try to tweak it. We all have our ideas. We're creative. At the beginning, I'm like, do the work and you'll succeed. Once you get those 6 figures under your belt and you're repeating that consistently, then you can start playing around and getting creative on your things. Because I'm a big believer on conversion events. Conversion events are what's going to drive your audience, and going and doing it live. I'm a big believer in that human connection. Yes, I love automation, but once you make 6 figures, you can automate. Until then, show up live, serve your people, let them connect with you, and you're going to be amazed how fast you're going to be building and scaling your business.
Yeah, that becomes so crucial, as getting started is the hardest part for a lot of people in a group. I call them peer advisory boards. I have my own mastermind group that I have, is people working together. And what you do is you get to learn from others. And like you said, the group think becomes so much higher. And that goes back to Napoleon Hill of Think and Grow Rich, of why it's so important to not be in that bubble, and especially online businesses. But I don't care. It's for any business. So many people think, oh, they're not going to understand my business. Guess what? All businesses are the same. They have to have a product of something that they're selling. They have to be able to market. They have to get clients. They have to have enrollment. They have to network with people to be able to get that business. And you'll learn from others. And you can take other people's strategy and you can decide, how do I apply it to my business? So I think that's so important. And I appreciate you sharing that. I'm curious because one of the things, and some of the information I looked up and research that I did, and you got a great website there, you talk about this number one tip that you would share with our audience and how to kind of create this massive shift in their business. And so I'm kind of curious if you would share what you think that number one tip is to share for them to have this massive shift. Because some people now, they've gone a little farther in. We were excited at the beginning of 2024, but now they're finding a little bit of a struggle in their business and they need this mindset shift or this massive shift in their business. What could they do from your perspective?
For me, I'm going to share from personal experience. When I am going through a mindset thing, and every time we move through fear, like every time we're moving, not move through fear, but every time we're moving to the next level, whether you're starting or moving or scaling, fear shows up, right? That maybe imposter syndrome shows up. Those things they're going to keep rearing their ugly head. And that just means, embrace it. That means you're on your way to break through to the next level. So it's not something to be afraid of. It's actually something to embrace and go, okay, you're showing up. That means I'm on my way. I'm ready for my next level. And that's something to celebrate. That being said, support is huge, because like I shared, I'm a recovering lone wolfer. I'm a recovering perfectionist, and we don't need to do this alone. And entrepreneurship is a lonely road, could be a lonely journey. It's up to us to ask for the support. So that would be my biggest tip. Don't be afraid of getting vulnerable. Don't be afraid of asking for help, because in those moments of asking for help, you're not only breaking through yourself, but you're also allowing someone else to give you the gift of that support. And you never know where they're stuck. And maybe they needed to support you in order to get to their next cut. So that would be my biggest advice: is don't stay stuck. Don't go it alone. Ask for support, reach out, no matter how scary it is. We're all there in some capacity. We've all been there. We're going to keep going there. As long as we're growing, we're going to be scared. Just ask for support to help you move through it.
Well, and that's the key for business owners. I think about anything, football, baseball, whatever team you want, they always have coaches, right?
Right.
That's the business we're in. Why are we in that? Because we love helping and serving people. You know, Heidi concentrates a lot with online businesses and women entrepreneurs and things of that nature, where I work with a lot of men and business owners in that areas and entrepreneurs, and find what fits you. Part of the reason I bring different people on my podcast that are, some people say, well, that's your competition. No, I want people that's going to fit, because that's going to be the best solution for them. And whenever you're looking for a coach, one of the first things I would tell you is you have to fit with that individual. You know, all coaches, you know, you see athletes when they're going into college, you know, and pros, they don't get to, but in college, they get to choose the coach that they decide to work with. Well, that's kind of like business people. You get the chance to choose who that is and who you want to work with, because there has to be that right fit for each individual. The last question I have, because I know we could go on and on because both of us kind of have very similar philosophies here, is I want you to share some tips, if you would, or how you can be more productive in business, because this is one that I'm hearing from a lot of my clients. Between email and just all the challenge, it's just hard to get it all done. And then we have this phone with us 24/7, and we never get time for ourselves. So what's some challenge or tips that you would share of to be more productive in your business?
Oh, this is so good, because I think we all struggle with it, no matter what, as entrepreneurs, especially if we're creatives, because some of us are more creative than others. And so this is a great question. And what I would share is getting really, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for a word, but I can't find it. Like really getting really, selfish, if that's okay to say,
Yeah.
with like creating time in your calendar just for productivity. Like you have that blocked off, and maybe it's the same time every day, and maybe it's an hour, and that's your moment to get creative. That's your moment to really get stuff done. And that is blocked off. Your family knows, your friends know, your colleagues know, your team knows. Like that's your time, because that's where you're going to spend that time to really knock stuff out. And you get to have that. Like it's really important that you're having that. And also maybe the time blocking is big for me. Like my team knows if it's not on my calendar, it's most likely 99% of the time not going to happen. So if they need something from me, if they ask for it and I don't send it within 5 minutes, they know that it's not coming and they need to put it on my calendar. So really getting like what works for you. I'm very specific with my calendar, and I'm not an analyzer type of personality. I'm more of a promoter, rah, like let's make it all happen. And I can be all over the place. So that keeps me focused. So really finding what works for you, because I've heard time blocking, the Pomodoro method, like there's different methods that work for different people. And so I don't like to tout one method, but I do love like really setting that 1 hour to make sure specifically is geared for you, where it's productivity focused time just for you, that you design any way you like it, but it's blocked on from your calendar. There's no meetings, there's no chance of anything creeping in. There's no sales calls coming in, there's no team member coming in to set a meeting. Nothing happens except that's your time. And you know that's for you, whether it's once a week, 3 times a week, or every single day of the week.
And I love that, because if you set it out And then the only person that has to protect that really, once you put it on the calendar, is yourself.
Mm.
Not to give that up. And that becomes so crucial. And if you think at this point in time, oh, every day, how could I do that? Then start off with 2 days, start off with 3,
Exactly.
then go up to 4, then go up to 5, whatever you want on that part of it. But it becomes so huge. I've done similar thing that I believe in is that time blocking and saying set time. And when is the best time for you to be that? Because Heidi and I, we've got to be creative. So,
Mhm.
mine is in the morning because in the afternoon, I want my appointments and stuff because I want that interaction by that time. But what works best for you? And, goes back to Brian Tracy's old book called Eat That Frog, first thing and stuff. So, whatever you want it to be, but set that up, that will make a huge difference for you. Heidi, I think you've got a Cultivate a Millionaire Mindset guide that you're willing to give our listeners if they'd like to. Share that if you would in your website at this time, and then we'll have it all in show notes too, because we know they're active people doing things, so they can easily click on it. But share that if you would.
Absolutely. The website is HeidiSchlack.com. It's my name. You feel free to go there, and would love to connect with you. And also the mindset guide. Yes, you can grab that. It's free. Free download. You'll get it right to your email immediately. You'll actually get it once you sign up. It's there. You can grab the link before you ever even get to your email. That's how fast we are. And that's through Heidi Schlack. I think it's HeidiSchlackCoaching.com Summit Gift, but we'll put the link inside the show notes for you to grab.
We'll have all that available for you, but she's got some great information. So please check it out. Go to her website, look at that information. And again, if you're looking for someone to help you, reach out to Heidi and stuff, because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's the reason I think it's so important. Business owners, every business owner, my belief is, Heidi, should have a coach in their corner that's working with them. And I say that not because I'm in the industry, but because I used to hire coaches and I know what it did for my businesses. They grew because I was not within myself. And it's kind of that network that you talked about before. Now, before I let you go, Heidi, I ask every guest this same question, but I want to know your best business advice or tip that you would share with business owners. We've talked about a lot of them, but what would be one that you would share with them as your best business advice?
My best business advice, and I'm sharing this because it kept me stuck not doing this for a while, is just be willing to get messy. Be willing to show up and just get messy and just do it, and be willing to learn and grow from it and laugh at yourself. Give yourself grace. I would have gotten further faster and had a lot more fun along the way had I listened to others when they gave me that advice. Like, be okay with being vulnerable, be okay with getting messy. Nobody likes perfect. Perfect is boring. If you're perfect, you're probably struggling. So get messy, have some fun, and you're going to attract your perfect person to you and the people that want to work with you.
Great advice. I tell you, make sure you check out the Cultivate a Million Mindset Guide. We'll have all the show notes there where you can go to HeidiSchlackCoaching.com Summit Gift. All that's there for you to easily grab that information. Her website link will be there too. So please check out Heidi's information she gave us. And I'm going to give you an action. My action is going back to, okay, you're kind of going to reframe now. We're kind of in a new part of the year. So what I want you to do is think about, what is the action maybe you told yourself in January that you've been allowing to slip? And Heidi talked about allowing yourself to get a little bit messy. Be honest with yourself what that is, and then refocus what that needs to be for yourself. And then write a true action plan of what you're going to do to be able to move forward with that. Maybe you need an accountability partner, or maybe you need a coach. But whatever it is, maybe you need to reach out to somebody in your network. You decide what it is, but then take action on it to move forward with it. Heidi, I thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you so much, Gary. This has been such a pleasure. I'm honored to be here with you.
Well, we were excited to have you. I love having people that have information that really makes a difference to my listeners, and you definitely did that today. So, listeners, my thing is, thanks for joining the podcast today. It's all the time we have, but until next time, go out there each day and continue to grow your business. Remember, you don't ascend to the top of the mountain by yourself. When you help others achieve their success, you find significance in life. Make it a great day. We'll see you next week.
That's all the time we have for this week. To continue your journey, head over to smallbusinessanswerman.biz to access the tools and resources mentioned in today's show. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with someone who would benefit from listening. That's smallbusinessanswerman.biz. Until next time, remember, when you find the right solutions, your business grows and you get your time back.